The attack on Boonesboro after so long a delay since the last attack on Harrodsburg was a great shock. Even though they had observed caution religiously, they were surprised. Simon Kenton and 2 other guards had posted themselves with their guns at ready at the open gate when 2 men went out into the clearing a short distance away just after dawn. The pair had picked up anything that could be used as firewood and, their arms full, were returning to the fort when the shots came. One of the men fell, and the other dropped his load and burst into a frantic run to reach the gate 60 yards away. The man on the ground got to his hands and knees and began to crawl toward the fort, but 6 Indians rushed out of the woods and overtook him. The lead Indian slammed his tomahawk into the man's spine, and then whipped out his knife and began scalping him. Kenton and the other 2 guards ran out, and Simon fired while running, dropping the one Indian that had just freed the scalp. A tremendous shot at 50 yards. The other 5 turned and ran lengthwise down the clearing instead of back toward the woods, while at the same time Boone charged off out of the gate with 10 men at his heels. The same thought was in everyone's mind, that this was a small raiding party bent on mischief. It was a tragic miscalculation. Simon was past the dead man, his gun already reloaded, and Boone's group was fully 40 yards from the gate when the deception became clear. A wave of warriors, at least 100 of them, burst from the edge of the woods and ran to cut them off from retreat into the fort. "Back!" Boone cried. "Back to the fort!" It was a desperate race. Except for the women and children, only 8 men had remained behind to defend the fort. Spinning around, Simon fired scarcely without aiming as he saw an Indian drop to one knee and aim at Boone. The Shawnee screamed and then lay motionless. Again, Simon reloaded as he ran and shot another. He had already reloaded a 3rd time when, at last, supporting fire came from the fort. Many of the Indians dived to take cover behind stumps. One of these, hidden to Boone, raised up as the frontiersman approached, and he shot. Boone pitched to the ground, his leg broken. The Shawnee ran to him, his tomahawk upraised to administer the finishing blow, but he crumpled silently as Simon's 4th shot ripped through his chest. Boone raised himself onto his hands and swiveled around, shaking his head imperatively as Simon ran toward him. "Can't get up," he said, gasping. "Go on, don't stop, get to the fort." Simon didn't answer. Pausing only for an instant, he dropped his gun and scooped Boone into his arms as if the man were a baby, then set off running just about as fast as he had been running before. The 2 Indians rushed side by side to cut him off, and instead of veering from them, he continued on his course. Both braves had tomahawks in their hands and triumph in their eyes. When only 10 feet separated them, Simon dived, thrusting Boone's body away from him as one might shove a log being carried. Boone sailed through the air and crashed solidly into the pair, stunning one and knocking both to the ground. Before the uninjured one could scramble to his feet, Simon's tomahawk buried itself in his head. The huge frontiersman again picked up Boone, now unconscious, lashed out a foot viciously at the stunned Indian who was dazedly attempting to rise, and felt the rib bones cave under the impact. Now the way to the fort was clear, and he ran as if all the devil's hell were at his heels. Bullets kicked up the ground around them, and several thunked solidly into the heavy logs of the gate as they neared it. And then they were through, and the gate slammed latch behind them. This was no time for rest. Simon laid Boone on the ground gently, dashed into the blockhouse, and scaled the ladder to the upper room. For the first time it dawned on him that he had no gun, and he called down for another. One of the women pitched up a rifle to him, and then climbed up after it with more powder and lead. Amazingly, except for the dead and scalped settler on the ground outside, none of the whites had been killed. But of the 23 men left alive, 7 were wounded, and 3 of them very seriously. Throughout the remainder of the day, and all through the next, the siege continued. Finally, the major force of Indians disappeared, but it couldn't be known whether they had gone home or not. It was not certain all of them had gone, for cattle continued to be killed here and there, horses stolen, and the incautious shot at.
And a warrior raised his tomahawk, but took a ball from Butler's gun.
Boone, hold on!
And he threw Boone on his shoulder like a sack of corn. Shots whistling by their ears, and started running for the fort. 2 warriors in his way, so he threw Boone right at him, drew his tomahawk and started hacking. He finished them all, picked old Daniel up, and ran through the gate that was quickly swung shut. Boone looked up at Butler, choking back the pain, and said, "Simon, you behave like a man.